Well, something went wrong. Okay. Okay, we're live. We're live, and thank you all so much. This is Willie Jones with President of Women for Progress, and you've tuned in to another edition of the Working Woman Report. We're so glad to have you with us today, and this is our first show of the year, so we're extremely excited, and we got a lot to cover today, so we want to waste no time and get right started. But I do want to share with you a couple of announcements, because I'll get going into this wonderful conversation and we will forget about those things that are coming up. Of course, the Women for Progress radio network is full of great new programming for the 2022 year, and we want you to stay tuned in to make sure that you don't miss any of our upcoming program that's going on. Tomorrow night's show, the Women for Progress radio show, tomorrow night at 5:30, live here on Facebook and on all of our podcast networks, including womenforprogressradio.com. Our guest for tomorrow's show at 5:30 is Hinds County Supervisor, Mr. Credell Calhoun. And we're going to be talking about some important things that are happening in that particular arena, and also Mississippi House of Representatives Mrs. Zakiya Summers. We know that we just opened a new legislative session for 2022, so we got a lot that we need to stay tuned into and make sure that we keep our eyes on. And not only that, we have to be active in this process. So Ms. Summers will be joining us tomorrow night also. And that's at 5:30. Also, our first Lunch and Learn series, which has been virtual for some time now due to COVID, is in the month of January. We always skip the holiday week, and it's next Tuesday, January 11th. That's our first Tuesday, which actually is on the second Tuesday for January, is our Lunch and Learn series, and it's prepared to launch. And I tell you, you do not want to miss that Lunch and Learn. We have a dynamic speaker that's coming to host that for us. And also, we got a lot of great things that are happening in the month of January that's going to be a follow-up to that. So that's going to be a virtual conversation on January 11th from 12 to 1 on the Women for Progress page, and again on all of our radio networks. And Ms. Thea Faulkner, who is director of the Lunch and Learn Committee, is going to join us tomorrow night on the show, and she's going to give you a little teaser for that particular Lunch and Learn. So tune in for that. And the final announcement I want to make is, if you or your organization is interested in supporting more women for public office, we want you to email us at mail@womenforprogress.net, mail@womenforprogress.net. And we also want you, if you yourself are interested in running for office, we want to hear from you too. So Women for Progress PAC is going to be doing some amazing things around that particular topic, and I don't want to spend a lot of time with that, but you want to stay tuned. But if you're interested in running for office, or you or your organization are interested in supporting work around getting more women in public office, we want to hear from you. We are creating a collaboration that's going to be just so exciting coming up for this new year. Now, let's get started. Surrounding yourself with amazing women, which is what I do all the time, and I'm so privileged to be part of the Women for Progress organization. We're always empowered by good information, good thoughts, and one of our members recently forwarded a comment to me, and I tell you, I was looking for a topic for this first show, and it was it. And I want to share with you the catalyst for this particular conversation today, which we're asking you to join us to get lifted in 2022. And the comments that were shared with me was called Flight 2022 Instructions. Welcome to Flight 2022. We are prepared to take off into the new year. Please make sure your positive attitude and gratitude are secured and locked in the upright position. All self-destruct devices, pity, anger, selfishness, pride, and resentment should be turned off at this time. All negativity, hurt, and discouragement should be put away. Should you lose your positive attitude under pressure during this flight, reach up and pull down a prayer. Prayers would automatically be activated by faith. Once your faith is activated, you can assist other passengers who are of little faith. There will be no baggage allowed on this flight. God, our captain, has cleared us for takeoff. Destination greatness. Wishing you a new whole year filled with hope, joy, and new beginnings. And that's what this conversation is about today. It's about setting some tools, and what I thought was most significant, not only getting prepared for launch, but what do we need to take along the journey with us to be successful, to make sure that our flight is good and we're comfortable, that we feel no fear and no anxiety. How do we handle the turbulence along the way? When we're on a plane, there's some surprising, either the captain is letting us down pretty rough, and how do we deal with the feelings of that? So we're going to talk today about what do we need to take along the journey with us? How do we make sure that we prepare for a real smooth flight? And so I'm so happy today to introduce you to a frequent guest of Women for Progress, and have someone who's been around our programming for a long time, who continues to be a friend of our organization in this programming, Miss Marsha Haygood. And we're so excited, and we'll talk a little bit later about how we got to meet and our long friendship and what has led to this conversation even today. But our conversation is Flight 2022, getting ready to fly, what we need for the journey. And I want to share with you just a little information about this amazing woman, but I want you to also look her up, and we'll be sharing some upcoming things that she's going to be doing, and also how you can engage with her. But she's a dynamic motivational speaker, empowerment coach, leadership consultant, and workshop facilitator. She is also co-author of the Little Black Book of Success, Laws of Leadership for Black Women. She founded Stepwise Associates, LLC, after a 25-plus year career as a corporate executive in human resources. It has a clear mission to offer professional and personal guidance to individuals, corporations, and small business owners through coaching, consulting, motivational speaking, and training. She's been featured in a leadership book entitled Speaking of Success, along with best-selling authors Steve Covey, Ken Blanchard, and Jack Canfield. She co-authored a book on leadership which offers freedom and career guidance to women of color, The Little Black Book of Success, Laws of Leadership for Black Women, which was released by Random House in March 2010. And that's going to be the catalyst and complement to our conversation today also. And this particular book has been dubbed as a mentor in your pocket for all, followed by a companion workbook to use as your personal call to action. And I want to say, over the years that I've known Ms. Haygood, my Little Black Book of Success, I bought many copies. I've given it. It has become the gift for me, to not only for women, for young girls. I've even given this to some young men because they need to be aware of some of this too. I've also I just tell you how much I give away this book. Is I went to look for my copy today, the hardback, and could not find it. So I've even given away my autographed copy, okay? So we're going to have to get another, but I did have my companion book that I bought last year. And I tell you, this companion book, even if you don't have the hard copy, the companion book, even though it's saying companion book, it really is a standalone. You could use it as a journal for yourself, and I just love it. And so I brought it today with me to share. And I tell you, if you're looking for an after gift, was there a friend or loved one or maybe a client that you forgot to give a gift to? I'm telling you, this is it. Either get the book itself, the Little Black Book of Success, or the companion, either one or both. And they're extremely affordable and one of the most easiest read and the most inspiring books. I'm telling you, this book is, I don't know, I guess what I love about this book and the women who have pulled it together, when we think about leadership, I think good leadership is that leadership that lasts even beyond when those people are in the room or either they're on the planet or whatever. And I tell you, this particular book will be around for another 100 years, okay? Even when we're flying around in spaceships, we'll be looking down on the seat and saying, oh, Little Black Book of Success right here in the spaceship, you know? You know why it would be there, Marsha? Is because more women would be in spaceships and flying around on the moon and all those kind of things. So we know the women will be taking this book along with them. But this is a wonderful book, and I cannot tell you how excited and blessed and thankful that it has touched so many lives around the country and beyond. I think it's an international a bookseller. So we're glad to have Marsha here, and welcome to the program again, Marsha.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me on, and thank you so much for your support over the years. The Little Black Book of Success is doing very, very well. We have the companion workbook. And for your audience, anyone who's interested in an autographed copy should email me directly, and we'll work out the details for the book. And if they mention that they were on your show today, there will be a little discount as well.
Oh, wonderful. Now give us that email address right now.
Okay, it's Marsha at marshahaygood.com is what they can send it to. That should be easy enough. Marsha at marshahaygood.com. And they can also go to my website and join my mailing list, which is marshahaygood.com. And hear some of the things that I talk about with you and with others and with my co-authors over about leadership, because you mentioned leadership and people think that that's what other people do, or you have to lead other people. And we say, my co-authors and I say that the first person you lead is yourself. So we should start there. And if you haven't been doing that, then Flight 2022, you should start now.
Right. And thank you so much, Marsha. So let's get right started. And I want to start with, when we talk about flight, and we and we specifically saying Flight 2022, but when we're talking about flight, we're talking about flying to the next level. You know, when we get on the airplane, we're getting above the clouds, okay? And a lot of us fly underneath the clouds. Some fly a little lower, you know, because of the safety. We don't want to go too high. We think we don't need to be up to that particular level. Today, our conversation is about flying, truly flying to that place that you have not been before. And really letting go and let the wind beneath your wings and flying and doing everything that you have ever dreamed of. And so first thing I want to start by talking about, I think when we think about these particular things, it doesn't matter what your economic situation is, how many degrees you have. We all have a little fears about flying. Even when we're getting on that material airplane, we start thinking about, if it's going to be a bumpy ride, what the weather's like. You get a little anxiety, I think, every time you get ready to leave that airport and get onto that particular plane. So that's the same thing here. We want to talk about that and dealing with our fears and anxiety. And I want to talk about, there's a few chapters in the book we're going to cover during this conversation, Marsha. But right away, I want to talk about what we need for victory. In order for us to soar and fly and really get to the next height and levels that we are with our talents and even with our faith in ourselves, having a positive attitude, would you say, would be key to that?
Absolutely. It's having a positive attitude. It's also your self-belief. You know, I think we have to dream bigger than our current circumstances. We have to move forward with purpose. Moving forward with purpose is my tagline, so I say it often, but it means thinking about your beliefs, thinking about your attitude, thinking about how you're perceived, thinking about your values, and deciding if your actions show who you really are. And you know, Maya Angelou always said, when they show you who you are, who they are, believe them. So you have to think about how you show up. And that should be every day. People make excuses. Oh, I didn't do that because I was busy, or I didn't do that because he or she did that to me. Mm-hmm. Who you are is your choice, not someone else's. So if someone makes you angry, that doesn't mean you have to stoop to their level. Mm-hmm. We've heard, I'm going to rise above that. When they go low, I go high. So our flight needs to be high all the time.
Mm-hmm. And starting out is, because we're talking about starting out this new year, starting out with the right attitude is going to be the key to everything. Sometimes I wake up in the mornings and I have the same heavy list of things that I know I needed to accomplish when I laid down the night before. And sometimes it's very, very heavy. But I wake up and you have to seize that morning before those thoughts start coming in and start telling you that, oh my goodness, it's just too big a burden for you to get out there, get back under the covers and take the day off, or don't go to that meeting, or don't show up at that networking breakfast. Before all of those negativities start kicking in, you have to take control. You have to fight those negative thoughts off. You got to be prepared with something that morning, but you have whether it's a motivational podcast or, a friend of mine last year, one of the most amazing, positive women, I just love her, shared with me a prayer book. And I tell you, I take that thing everywhere. I take it to work. I take it to lunch. I just traveled this past week. Over in November, I traveled several different places for different business meetings. That prayer journal stayed with me. I tell you, it's been powerful. And the pages are very short. And I tell you, it hits the spot every single morning. So we have to be prepared to control that positive attitude, no matter what the situation is. And it's amazing how in very short time period, when you master it, how it immediately changes the situation. All of those big issues and big rocks that you thought were huge now become gravel up under your feet.
But you also have to know yourself. So I say, before you even start grabbing for things, everything is for sale now. They have journals for sales and books for sales and, the courses that you can take. I think before all of that, you need to take some real quality time to reflect. Think about what moves you forward. Think about, everyone, you and I are morning people. Everyone's not. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that your morning has to be, some people say, I can't do it in the morning. I just don't have the energy or the attitude or the bandwidth for the morning. I ask every one of my clients, what is your best time of the day? Mm-hmm. And you should always give the best time of the day to yourself. Mm-hmm. It should be reflective time. What's worked well for you? What has not? What would you like to do differently? What's getting in your way? And it can be small. It doesn't have to be big. I also tell people to do everything in 15-minute intervals. 15-minute buckets. There are 1,440 minutes in the day. You can give yourself 15. You can't be so busy that you can't give yourself 15 minutes of quality time. And if you haven't been doing that because you've been using the excuse that you're too busy, now's the time to, on that flight, say, that's what I'm going to do. Give yourself more time than you give your social media. Give yourself more time on positive things than you do on negative things. Think about what's going to work for you. Where do you want to go? Who are you? What would you like to accomplish? What has gotten in your way? What have you done well? What would you like to do more of, less of? Keep doing, stop doing, do differently. Give yourself time to think. And when you can do that, you automatically rise. You automatically rise. But decide what it is that you want and who you want to show up as. And then live that brand.
Now, Marsha, you talked about knowing thyself, which is so important. I think last year when I began to reflect at the end of the year, it was like, I think one of the things that I heard God speak to me was to be more my authentic self. Mm-hmm. I'm an A-type personality. I like things done a certain way, and if they're not done a certain way, I get my knickers in the wad sometimes. and so what I learned at the latter part, the end of the quarter of last year, is to just let go and trust my own talents, trust my own purpose. And I tell you, it's been one of the most freeing things, and it's been liberating for me. It has just really been wonderful getting to know myself, beginning to trust myself more. So I want to dig a little deep, and I'm going to follow some of the topics of the Little Black Book of Success. And the reason I want to focus, I'm going to kind of keep our conversation in between that, is because I want women to go out and buy this book, and I want them to utilize this. And if it's not this book, I want you to take notes today. I see a lot of guests that are on today. Thank you all so much for joining. And as we share information, like we shared the email that Marsha gave us, Marsha at marshahaygood, was it marshahaygood.com?
Yes.
Marsha at marshahaygood.com. That's how you can email her, get a copy of the book, get an autographed copy of the book, and also get a discount for joining us today. So if you all would just put that in the chat, in the comments there, those of you who are listening in for us, that would be great. And as we move on in the conversation, if you have any questions, put those in the comments also. So my next area I want to talk about, because this is, I think, relevant to what's going on today. When we talk about all the culture wars that are going on, these issues around racism and hate and all those kind of disrespect, all of this, a lot of that going on in our community and our society. And your chapter 3 says, racism is no excuse, but it can be a motivator. I tell you, it's a motivator for me being a woman, especially being a woman of color. So you say even the best managers can succumb to unconscious stereotypes or implicit prejudice. You must understand the perceptions of the dominant culture and your biculturalism if you want to succeed. So I want you to just touch on a little bit about, when you talk about knowing yourself and knowing who you are. I don't think many of us have to go in every day in our jobs and beat down that we're black and all those kind of things, and even bring racism into every single conversation that we have. But you need to understand who you are and be able to address those issues in the proper manner, and also use it for your own uplift and your own influence with the talents that you have. Because when you're a person of color, you come with some extra stuff.
It's so funny that you should be talking about this. And I think about this often. First of all, the reason that we wrote that chapter is because understand that we know more about them than they know about us.
Right.
Instead of being annoyed by it, why not use that to our advantage? It's just a shift in attitude. It's deciding, I know you. People say they know about us. We know more. Mm-hmm. And we're also more resilient in most cases. Use that as an opportunity to address your why. Address your why. If you have to go into an organization every day, or if you have to encounter people every day, know why you're doing it. And, a lot of people will start off by saying, because I need this job, because I need the money. Well, money is only the motivator on payday. Mm-hmm. And if you're thinking only money, then you're either in the wrong circle or you haven't thought big enough. I say, think about what you can get from that experience. Are you learning something new? Are you meeting some other people who can help you? Are you addressing an issue so that you can learn more about something? Understand your why. So in that reflection time that you're taking, you're going to think about, why am I here? What am I doing? What do I even want? And I tell you, Willie, that oftentimes I ask clients, what's your why? And what does success look like for you? And then it's a stumper for them. I say, it's because you haven't taken time to think about it. Take some time and really think about it. And it's not always something big. It's not usually money. Money may be part of it, but it's usually not your why. You're getting that. If you have to be at a place that is terrible, 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 then all the money in the world is not going to get you as much money as you'd like to have, because it's so terrible, it changes your attitude. You're unhappy. You have more money, but guess what? You're unhappy. Your health is suffering. Your thoughts are suffering. And chances are the people around you are suffering as well, because a nasty attitude is a nasty attitude. Mm-hmm. So just think about the whole process, not just the one thing. Remembering that your goal, your dream, your success, your happiness is bigger than any circumstance that you're facing right now.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this next one is big. And this gives me an opportunity to share that story that I talked about when we first started this today, is how you and I met. And I think it's been now about 11 or 12 years ago. It could have been longer. Yeah. And I went to a golf retreat, a PGA golf retreat down in, I think it was Kissimmee, Florida. And mm-hmm. you were there as a speaker to the conference that they were having for women. I was there trying to get some R&R and work on my golf game. And, and we met on a golf cart. And I tell you, we started talking, and we did where most women say they're going to do and they never do, is we stayed connected. We stayed in touch. I think our Women for Progress group flew you and your other co-authors down, and yes. you all hosted one of the most amazing women's conference that we had here in the city of Jackson. You all have kept connected with us. Your co-authors and you have constantly talked here on our program. You all have been an inspiration to us. Not only with the work that you do around motivation and coaching and leadership, but by the lives that you have led. Your co-authors are two other great, amazing women that continues to be an example for us. So this next particular one is so important about relationships and the importance of relationships. And really stepping out of your territory, because if I wasn't the person that I was at that particular period of time, I would not have been receptive to you, this person that I didn't know. You were from a totally different place. I was living in Mississippi and you were on the East Coast. So two women from two very diverse areas of the country. But we got to know each other and grew to be friends and associates. So yes. Chapter 18 says, surround yourself with the right people. You cannot survive in isolation. Networking can expand your support system.
Absolutely. And, I'm a connector, so it's easy for me to do this. It's easy for me to call someone up who I haven't spoken to in a long time, or to speak to someone who I don't know. I know that that's not as easy for everyone. However, I start off with saying to people, watch your neutral face. If someone has ever said to you, oh, what's the matter? And you say, oh, nothing, I was just thinking. That means your neutral face is not looking so neutral. So start there. These are things we control. No one else controls them. We control them. Start off with being open and receptive to other people. And it doesn't make a difference. Diverse people, men, women, at different ethnicities. Just be open to that. You feel better. You feel a relief, actually, when you do that. But also know that people will do things for you, but it needs to be reciprocal. You can't always be asking for something. You can't only contact people when you need them. You need to check on people. And I'm going to dare say that COVID should have taught you that. If you never did it before, you should have been contacting people who have done something for you, or who you know, or who's in your contact list, just to say, just wanted to check on you. Just want to know that you're okay. The holidays is another good time to say, just wanted to say hello and happy holiday. Now is a good time to say, you know what? Thinking about you. Just want to say Happy New Year. Hope you have a happy, healthy, safe 2022. You can do it for a variety of reasons when you're not trying to get something.
Yeah.
And I dare say, if you haven't contacted, wherever you are in your life's journey, when you think back on the people who have helped you get to where you are right now, if they're alive and you haven't contacted them, you've done yourself a disservice. And if you use the excuse that you're too busy, know that excuses only satisfy the person who's making them.
And I want to add to that, Marcia, that also when we're talking about developing relationships and friendships and contacts, because that's a whole different kind of contact. You want to be a good contact. You want to be a good friend. You want to be a good resource. So yes. You have to work when you're engaging with people, you need to have a list of good resources in your directory. And then when you share information with people, it needs to be good information they can't Google on the internet. And make sure that information that you connect them to, or that person that you connect them to, is thorough information. I tell you, people used to say to me, well, you can contact John Smith about so-and-so, so-and-so. Now, John Smith is a name that if I Googled, I'll get 50 John Smiths in the planet. So if you want to give me a good resource, give me John Smith's email address, okay? Or John Smith's office number or cell number. I mean, share good information. If that's information you don't feel comfortable sharing, then don't give it out.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Right? You know what else I have had to say to people, and they don't think about it because, again, people use the excuse that they're busy for everything. But they're the only ones that are busy. Everyone's busy. But, oftentimes I will get an email, and especially now, talking about a job open at a company. And I try to think of who I can send that to, even if I'm too busy to have a whole long conversation about. I'll send, I heard about this job opening. This is all the information I have. I don't have any other information, but it might be of interest to you, or it might be of interest to someone you know. So I'm even giving information that they can share so that they don't even have to go out and do a whole lot of research. But we know a lot of people. We as people know a lot of people. And if we try to help one another, we'll be so much further ahead than we are if we try to hold it to ourselves. It used to be a time that you were the only woman. You didn't want to share it with another woman. If you were the only black person, you didn't want to share it with the other black people. That doesn't make sense. And we all know that now.
Yeah.
And why not share that information? with
And
people.
and I think too, when we talk about, I think a lot of things have left our society and our networking circles and in every aspect of where we live and where we work. When it comes to customer service now, especially I've noticed it so much, now that we're in COVID and staffing issues are a big deal, is the quality of customer service. I think when we talk about getting ready for flight for 22, let's be better customer service people for each other. I mean, sometimes when you go into the store and you say, okay, I'm looking for so-and-so product, and the person says it's on line 4. Okay, you go back to line 4 and you can't find it anywhere. You walking up and down line 4 and looking at every shelf, and you don't want to go back and ask her again, so you check and you double check. You wasted a whole lot of time. Then you walk into those establishments and you ask the clerk, you say, hey, I'm looking for product 4. And they say, oh, okay, follow me. I'll show you. It's on line 4, but follow me and let me show you where it is. And they take you back there, and there it is on line 4. And not only they show you where on line 4, you say, hey, sometimes a good customer service person say, oh, you're looking for this, you may want to try this particular line of product. And there's 3 brands here, but this brand here is our best seller. So when we talk about when we're networking with each other, sharing information, connecting each other to resources and opportunities, let's make sure that we are good customer service people. If we know about a job, let's walk. Sometimes you think, well, this person got a degree, she got 2 degrees, she ought to be able to figure out so-and-so. But don't make assumptions. Just connect people to if you have to do 1, 2, 3, take the time to do that. They'll remember that. And we're building opportunities for each other. And people, I'm telling you, a lot of times we spend a lot of money on advertising and branding ourselves. If we become better customer service people to each other, I tell you, that's going to go a lot further than a lot of the investments that we make out there around advertising and marketing and all those kind of stuff. Because the best referral is from an individual who knows you, who had the experience of you.
Exactly. And it's so funny because one of the things that I said to a client who was looking for a job, she was in a job and she wasn't sure if she wanted to stay at that company or not. She didn't see an opportunity. And someone internally asked her about or told her about a possible opportunity. And she said, I don't know what to tell them if they ask me what my strengths are. And I said, I can tell you what your strengths are from where I sit. First of all, you show up. And you show up with a good attitude. You're smiling, even in the best of times. I laugh because even when she's having a rough day, she has a smile on her face. And she's open to listening to what you say your problem is and trying to come up with a solution for you. I said, share that with people. I said, because you know what? That's not so common, especially not right now. So think about what your strengths are and what if your actions are really demonstrating what your story is.
Thank you, Marsha, for that. And then I want to even go further and talk about, I think the best individuals, I think when people ask me about who is Women for Progress, who are the women that make up Women for, what makes a Women for Progress a member of Women for Progress? What makes a member what we call a Nefertiti, a queen, that woman who leads? And one thing I say is, no matter what the obstacle, no matter what comes her way, she is prepared to do whatever it takes. She's got the information. She's yes. Okay, yeah, we got that problem. Yeah, the Zoom went out, but we're gonna go to Plan B. Exactly okay. Right. The lights went out and the storm came through. The lights went out, but I got 3 candles in my bag. We're gonna light them up and we're gonna do what we got to do. And that's what those women are. Women who really lead is say, no matter what the obstacle, you're going to jump over them and you're going to keep moving. You're going to keep it. You're going to stay in the race. And so when we talk about chapter 28, change is inevitable.
That's right.
So be prepared.
That's
Organizations are like living organisms. They change, form, and shape all the time. Be prepared for transitions you see coming and those that you don't. And that's what we are post-COVID. We ain't post-COVID yet, but in the midst of COVID, change is happening every single day. How do we prepare for them? Because a lot of us keep saying when it gets better, when things start smoothing out, when COVID go away, I'm a ting, ting, ting. That ain't going to happen. Right. COVID is going to be with us. Change is going to happen. How do we prepare for that, Marsha?
Well, I think you start off with what you weren't prepared for. When COVID, we didn't know COVID was going to happen in 2020. What threw you off course? Was it that you didn't have toilet paper in your house? Or was it that you didn't have enough money? Or that you didn't know how, you didn't have an internet that could do Zoom? What was it that threw you off course? Start there. Because when you say prepare for change, people say like, okay, what do I do? I say, what threw you off course already that you had to adjust to? Prepare there. What did you have? You said, I got this. I know how to do this. Make sure that you can continue having it. These things are not so big that we can't adjust. I think of things as a circle. And I say, if you have a circle and you draw a line right through the middle, the things up here, you control them. It's the things down here that you have no control over. Work with the stuff up here first. Because when you work with the stuff up here, somehow things will move up and you'll have more control each time. But we don't give ourselves the credit. We don't give ourselves the time. We don't give ourselves the thought process to go along with it. We are very, 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 can I say it again? Very resilient when we put our thoughts to it. But oftentimes we spend more time making excuses than we do making steps forward. And if we have not done this in the past, now is the time, because the opportunities, one of the things about COVID is as challenging as it has been, it has also provided some opportunities that we weren't thinking about.
Marsha, also we're getting ready to do Lunch and Learn next week, Tuesday, and one of our topics is preparing to launch. And one of the things that I'm hearing from women all across COVID and what they've learned about themselves, they learned about the situation. They said, look, I figured out, even though I had a decent job, my financial was not in order. Even though I had a great job, I had a great husband, had a great spouse, I realized that I was spending too much time on my job and my health got raggedy. The women are over and over coming to this realization of what they needed to do right. And a lot of it, like you said, is we did not take the time to reflect. We didn't take time for all of that. And I want to say to women is, don't beat yourself up about it. That's life. And what we have an opportunity here in 22 is take another plane. That plane is already off the ground and gone. We need to get on the next flight that's available.
Going forward.
Going forward. We need to get on it and take flight. And we have to, one of the things that many of us in January, we want to do it big. We want to make the big list and we want to list all of these amazing things we're going to do. We're not going to do this anymore. We're going to do this. I've said to myself, because I'm a realist, Willie Jones, don't be putting all this stuff on the list, because the first thing you're going to do is not do any of it, because I don't like pressure. I don't like pressure. I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't like any of that stuff. So I'm just going to take little bites at the time. I'm going to add additional prayer time. I'm going to work on my relationship with my God, and I want him to steer the shift. I'm going to do little things. I'm going to spend a little bit more time with my grandchildren. Look, they ain't going to get 2 days more a week. They ain't used to me saying that because I got stuff to do. But I'm going to put aside a little bit more time with them. And sometimes it may be just me playing a game of Uno, or it might be taking a walk with them down the street. It's just the little things, and you have to do little things. I think for some of us, Marsha, it's also about the routines that we do. Setting yourself up for just good routines. The small routines end up being bigger, make bigger steps for bigger things, and we do it drastically. We begin to do it a little bit at a time until next thing you know, when you look back, you've come a very, very long way. Would you say?
They're called success routines or success habits. Those things that have worked for you, that you've seen, that move you forward. Those are the things that you hold on to, hold tight to those. You mentioned the affirmations or the journaling that you do in the morning. That should become a daily routine, or at least a routine during the course of the week. And you will know when you don't do it. You'll be saying something's a little bit off. I laugh, and I use this example often, is people who sleep with their phone on in their bedroom and then complain because their job texts them too late at night or too early in the morning. Say they wouldn't know if you didn't have your phone on. You wouldn't know when someone was texting you or sending you a message. People who know me know I turn my phone off at a certain time at night. It goes off. It's off. I don't know until the next morning. And it's not even early in the morning. It's late in the morning because I have morning routines. So decide what works for you or what hasn't worked for you and make some adjustments. And now is a good time. These are not New Year's resolutions. These are lifestyle changes. So don't try to do all of them at once. You may do, I take this thought from Warren Buffett. Okay? Warren Buffett says, write down 25 things that you absolutely want to do, that you have on your list to do. Write all 25 of them down. Then take the first 5, the ones you feel are the priorities. He said, mark those as priorities. He said, because the other 20 are just distractions. They're going to keep you from doing those 5. You're going to be trying to do all of them, and you're going to get none of them done. Write them all down. You can get to them later. It may be that you can do those first 5 in the first half of the year, and you can take another 5. Or you can do the first 5 in this month, and then do the rest. But you don't believe the hype about multitasking, that you can multitask well, because you really can't. You're only making believe. So when you talk about self-reflection and self-knowledge, know that you can't do everything as well as you think you can if you're trying to do them all at the same time.
Right. And you're exactly right. I mean, people tell me all the time, well, you're always doing 10 things at once. And they think that they're giving me a compliment, but every time they see it, I get a headache. And when I hear it, it's like, no, I don't want to be doing 10 things at one time. I want to get down to where I'm doing one thing at one time,
Yeah.
And when we think about it, when we talk about doing 10 things at once, and we know our focus can't be fully engaged, no matter how talented you are to those 10 things. If you get to a point to where you can do one thing at one time, just think how powerful that you can be.
That's right. And you decide which one of those things is the most important to you.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, Willie, as I said to you, I'm doing a couple of things. One, I think that anybody who's listening, who's interested, should join my mailing list, because I'm sending out resources on a not so regular basis. I'm not real good at this newsletter thing. I'm trying to get to be more accountable and do that on a regular basis. But the fact of the matter is, when I do send it out, it has something to say.
Yeah.
I'm not just talking to talk, that's first. But the other thing is, I'm also doing a webinar, a free webinar next week, next Wednesday, where I'm talking about doing your best for this year and starting off. And I talk about some of these tips and strategies that people can do to move themselves forward. It's next Wednesday, the 12th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
5:30 our time. 5:30 our time, which is perfect time. We're off work, and look, many of us get off at 5. You got a little drive time. Get out of your clothes, put your PJs on, get you a cup of cider. And I want to tell people how they could connect. And this is called Ask Marsha, and it's looking to start the new year off white.
Ask Marsha H.
Okay, Marsha H. And if you're looking to start your new year off with some clarity, bring your questions and be inspired by speaker, leadership consultant, coach, and author Marsha Haygood. So this is by how do we connect? I know this particular registration link is available through Eventbrite. So how are we connecting by Zoom? Is that right, Marsha?
Yes, it'll be connecting by Zoom, and it is a webinar, so you can have on your pajamas. You won't be seen. I'll be the one pinned up on the stage, but I'm saying if you have questions, you can send your questions beforehand. I've gotten many. So in that 1 hour, I'm going to try to answer as many as I can just on starting your year off right. But we've hit quite a few of them today as well, Willie. It's about starting your year off right and being accountable to yourself.
And
because,
I want to say,
as I said, the first person you lead is yourself.
And I want to say to folks who are listening, put this on your calendar, Wednesday, January 12th, from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. And I want you to share it with as many people as possible. Central Time, 5:30 Central, 5:30 6:30 Central Time. And because I know we're some of Marsha's followers from all over the country are listening. So 5:30 to 6:30 Central Time. We want you to tune in. You can register for that webinar on Eventbrite, and it's Ask Marsha H is the name of the webinar that's going to be on. We're going to share it too. We'll share the link.
Thank you.
On our page, and so look for it too. Those of you who are listening in, if you can pull it up and put it in the comments, that'd be great. If you have any questions right now that you want her to maybe tackle on January 12th, is Marsha at Marsha Haygood, HAYGOOD.com. Marsha at MarshaHaygood.com. You can send your questions to her, and knowing Marsha, even if she don't get them answered on the webinar, because I know she's going to get a bunch of them, she may answer them offline for you. So go ahead and email her.
I'm not going to make any real promises there. I'll do some things, and you know what? Let me just talk about one other thing that I see happen often, and I forget about this, but you just made me think about it. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're a business person, I also post a lot on LinkedIn, and I connect with people on LinkedIn, but I connect with people who tell me something. So understand, when you're talking about your brand, if you just click that lazy LinkedIn message, I want to connect with you, and I don't know you, I may not connect. It definitely takes me longer to connect, because then I have to look through your profiles, make sure you're not a crazy person that's posting terrible things. So it is always, always, always good, if you're going to connect with someone, to connect on LinkedIn, but add the note. I saw you on Women for Progress radio show and would love to connect. Or I heard you speak at something, or I saw your name on this and someone told me about you. Whatever it is, say something, because the first impression counts. And for me, and I know for a lot of other professional people who are on LinkedIn, when you just hit that lazy LinkedIn message, that's exactly what I think of you, that you're lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a tip that I like to share because it's so important. And even on the telephone, if you're doing it on the phone, you have to hit the more button because otherwise it won't let you do the message. Or guess what? If you don't know them anyway, wait until you get home, do it on your computer.
Right. Well, that's a wonderful, amazing tip there. That was just worth the conversation today. That tip alone, Marsha. That is wonderful because I'm spending a little bit more time on LinkedIn. I tell you, I love the diversity of the contacts there. And I tell you, it's been wonderful getting to know some people through that source. So I'm surprised that many people reach out to me.
Right.
And you're right. When they do this simple thing, I am so paranoid about folks who are just trying to get at you for one reason or the other. So you're right. You got to make that connection with me on a personal level, or hit me somewhere on my business arena to where I'm going to respond to you. So that's a wonderful tip. Now you mentioned your mailing list. How can we connect to your mailing list?
If you go onto my website, it says join my mailing list. So my website is marciahaygood.com, and you can join the mailing list. And then you'll get any newsletter or any blog or anything that I put out. You'll automatically get that. As well as I send, when you join the mailing list, you get a little form that's 7 tips to success. That are just 7 little tips for you to think about as well. And it's a good way to start off the new year as well.
Well, this year, the Working Woman Report, we're going to be a lot more intentional and a lot about our conversations. And I was going to share with you a couple of books that I think you need to get. But I tell you, the best nugget is this right here. The Little Black Book of Success. Leadership Laws for Women of Color.
I'll show the hard copy so you show the workbook. So
I've got the companion, and I'm going to open it up too, because you can write in it. And it's truly a companion book. You can really use it as your journal, your daily journal. But there's so many starts there for you and things for you to reflect and think about. And a few of the chapters that we talked about there, look, I had so many, 3 or 4 other ones to highlight, and we didn't get a chance to walk through them. But the conversation today is what you need for your journey. And I'm not saying this, it doesn't matter if you use this particular nugget or you use a Little Black Book of Success, the hard copy, or actually I talked about the book that my friend sent me last year. And Mary, you know who you are. I thank you so much. Mary, you're talking about taking flight. Mary took flight in 2020. Mary Williams, who's the CEO of Prep for Success Meals, she's launched that business in 2020, right in the midst of COVID. And it's just amazing what she has done. She's a wonderful, wonderful cook. She's a master registered nurse. She does so much. She's a motivational person. Her and her husband has a ministry. She is just incredible. I love her. But a lot of times when we talk about each other and share about each other, we talk about all the things we do. Let me tell you the most amazing thing about Mary is she's one of the most loving, caring individuals that you ever wanted to meet. I'm sure there's some days when I meet her, she's going through some storms, but I would never know it. She always has a smile. She makes me smile. She makes me feel good about myself just by being in the room with her. That's who she is. And I'm telling you, if you want some Prep for Success meals, affordable, and they're just amazing, go to prepforsuccessmeals.net and check her out. And if you don't do that thing, share her information. But she shared with me this book. It's a prayer journal in the daily devotional prayer journal called Jesus Listens. And I tell you, I don't think since I've opened it up in the wonderful gift bag that she gave it to me in, there have missed a day with it. It's something that's short and sweet, and it always hits the spot. always hits the spot. So that's another little nugget that you can have. But also I want to remind you to get that. If you, Marsha is giving a discount for those who want to get that by emailing her an autographed copy. And Marsha, I'm going to have to email you for autographed copy because I've given my autographed copy away to some friend or stuff. And so we'll have to get it. So Marsha at marshahaygood.com. You can get that information. I think it's available even on Amazon, right?
It is.
Marsha,
it is.
If they don't want the autographed copy. So if you're an Amazon user like I am, you like to get things very, very quickly, you can get that there also. But look, I want you all to tune in every Wednesday from 12 to 1 for the Working Woman Report. We're going to have some great conversations. If there's a topic you or a woman that you think we should talk to, please let us know. Email us at mail@womenforprogress.net. Mail@womenforprogress.net. We'll be glad to engage that conversation. But this is going to be a good time. I want you right now, when you start doing all these wonderful routines, write in your list, please, to join the Working Woman Report every Wednesday from 12 to 1. I guarantee you're going to walk away with at least one thing that's going to inspire you, one good piece of information. And if it's information that's not going to touch you, it's going to touch somebody else. I promise that. That's a promise. That's a promise. So tune in every week. Marsha, this has been wonderful. Look, I'm going to have to go do it. We're going to have to just do like a round table 2-hour conversation with you because an hour is never enough.
That's right.
I thank you so much for being who you are. I thank you so much for lifting and touching us today. Set us on our journey for Flight 22.
That's right. And I'm going to thank you for myself and for my co-authors, Elaine Merrill Brown and Rhonda Joy McLean. The three of us, thank you so much for your unconditional and long-term support. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And I want to remind, as we get off today, to join the show, to the Women for Progress radio show on Thursdays. At 5:30. Tomorrow we're going to have Hinds County Supervisor Credell Calhoun, and we're going to have Mississippi House of Representative Ms. Zakia Summers, who's a member of Women for Progress, by the way. She's coming in to give us some things that we need to stay focused on with this new legislative session. She's going to give us some call to actions that we need to watch out for. And Zakia has been in community service and community engaging for a very, very long period of time. So you need to tune in to that conversation tomorrow night. Lunch and Learn, January 11th from 12 to 1, live on our Facebook page and on our radio page, womenforprogressradio.com, and all of our podcasts. Powerful conversation, preparing to launch. It's going to focus on getting our financial houses in order. So you want to tune in. I'm telling you, that's going to be powerful, powerful. Thank Thea Faulkner and her team at the Lunch and Learn Committee for pulling this together. It's going to be exciting. Lunch and Learn 2022 under this leadership for committee, like the other leadership that we've even had in the past. Oh my goodness, you think 2020, in the midst of COVID, it was good. It's going to be good 2022. So make sure you tune in to that every first Tuesdays of the month. But this month is the second Tuesday. But every first Tuesday, Lunch and Learn. Also, we're looking for women who want to run for political office. We're looking for women in organizations who want to collaborate with us to get more women in political office. So we want you to contact us. We're going to do big things. This is our time. This is our time. I don't know what's going on in the rest of the country, but this is our time in Mississippi to get more women to the table. We're going to get more women to the table. Now, when I say that, that's shaking some people's boots right now. Right now, people saying, what is she saying? Are we going to get more women? Are we going to have to deal with more women at the decision-making table? We're going to have more women creating policy. We're going to have more women leading on our council, leading our PTAs, leading in education. Yep, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. But get ready for real good change, real good leadership in this state, in our communities. But we have to do it together. I hear right now, pocketbooks falling on tables, pocketbooks falling on tables and saying, I'm ready. So thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. Marsha, it's always wonderful. I know you have some wonderful year planned. I'm going to tune in to your mailing list right now. I'm going to go to your website at marshahaygood.com, sign up for your mailing list. I'm going to put in my calendar your event that's coming up Wednesday, January 12th from 5:30 to 6:30. I can feel my pajamas coming on right now to be able to relax and enjoy that. And ask Marsha, because I'm going to really tie into that. I think it's a great follow-up to our conversation today. Getting ready to launch. What do we need to take on the journey? So tune in January 12th, 5:30. Bring your pen and pad and be able to take notes, because I know it's going to be great. So thank all of you. So many women joined us for lunch today. Some amazing women. Some new names and some seasoned names. And thank you all for joining us today. It's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. All right, this has been the Working Mom Report. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.